Bass fishing.
Bass fishing.
Well, you all are very nice. You're all standing. I feel guilty. Wait a minute. I'm standing. Thank you for all coming out. It's a weeknight, a work night, a school night. I see young people here, so that means I'll have to edit as I go. I'll talk a little bit about the book, and I'm going to take a whole bunch of. I'm not going to read. Reading bores me. I'm not going to read from the book. I'm on a long book tour, and I'll read from another book, somebody else's book. I'll tell you a little bit about Star Island. All my novels sort of germinate as an accumulation of grievances against the world in general. And I was getting sick of watching the news at night, the so-called news at night, and reading or seeing much more about Lindsay Lohan than I was seeing about the war in Afghanistan or Iraq. And it would be one thing if there was a shred of talent associated with some of these numbnuts, but there's not. In our world today, in the celebrity world today, talent actually holds you back. So I just, you know, if you write satire, you look for targets. It was an obvious target. In South Beach, which is where this novel was set, South Beach and Miami Beach, seemed to me like a perfect place to put a novel about vanity and self-absorption and training and posing. I mean, it's all there. And it's a great little freak show. But none of it is real, and nothing of any consequence happens there. So therefore, I thought I would set the novel there. It's also a place where, if you haven't noticed, it's a magnet for these kinds of people. I don't watch this show, but I understand there's a television show called Jersey Shore, where there's this collection of troglodytes with IQ something around their shoe size, and so they spent exactly one season at the Jersey Shore, and then they filmed their second season on South Beach in Miami, and that wasn't an accident. It was a perfect venue for them. We of course have our annual, or I should say our almost monthly visits from Paris Hilton. The nightclubs pay her to come down there and just appear for a couple of hours, fly her down. And you can imagine how empty your life has to be if you build your social schedule around an appearance anywhere by Paris Hilton. I mean, it's very sad in a way. So this is the South Beach. This is the perfect South Beach story. And that's probably what got me started, got me so ticked off that I had to write the book. Years ago, after the second O.J. Simpson trial, the jury that was the jury that actually stayed awake for most of the testimony, they decided he might have had something to do with those two murders, and they assessed a huge civil penalty against O.J. I mean, like $22 million or something. So where else is he going to move but South Florida? He had to get out of California. We knew he was coming to Florida. Everybody knew he was coming. And so he was, in his search for the real killers, took him to every golf course in Dade County. And it also took him to South Beach. And I'll never forget, the first 2 months he was down there were regular stories on the news stations, in quotes, about him having dinner on South Beach, having drinks on South Beach, and people running up to him with their children, asking if they could put their children in a photograph with O.J. That's quite a memento, isn't it? You know, I keep thinking, it's too bad Ted Bundy is dead, because the guy would be rocking on South Beach today, I'm telling you. What a great, but that's what celebrity does to people. That's what it sort of warps people's idea about what's important and what's not important. I mean, I don't know what you do with that picture when your kids are grown. Oh, you know who that is? You want this frame? I don't think I want it framed. Anyway, so all this started building up, so I decided I had to invent my own airhead pop star. Wasn't hard. There was a lot of inspiration in the headlines. And her name is Cherry Pie, and she's 22. She's on her 4th or 5th rehab. The rehabs, as you know, are very carefully choreographed. The managers sit around the table and decide, you know, once you crashed and burned for the 3rd or 4th time, where you go and how you dress when you go into rehab, what you wear when you come out of rehab, the contrite things that you say, all of that is very staged. So she's in the middle of one of those sets. That's sort of where she is, where she's at. She's got a new album come out, a new CD, I should say, a new concert tour, but she's wasted all the time. She's so wasted they have to hire someone to go out and party for her. They hire a look-alike actress who is just an actress trying to make a buck, but who is sort of conscripted to be Cherry when Cherry is too wasted to be herself. And in the middle of all this, I've been drawn, for years I've wanted to put a paparazzo in a novel. I mean, last time out with Nature Girl, I had a telemarketer in the novel, and I thought, okay, where do you go down on the evolutionary scale from that? And paparazzo is the one thing that popped into my mind. And it's coming out of the news business as I do, and knowing a lot of hard news photographers, it's always been an aberration that interested me, how you go from delivering important information photographically to hiding in Sandra Bullock's shrubbery for 24 hours waiting for her to go over to Starbucks. I mean, it's quite a career movement, quite a leap, but those kind of characters appeal to novelists. I mean, if they're honest with you, any novelist will admit to you that sleaze bags are much more fun to write about, to put on the page, to populate your novels with, than are sort of upright heroes. I mean, the Dalai Lama is a great guy, not a lot of laughs, from my point of view. You know, I mean, but you got a character like this guy in my novel, who's a sort of a defrocked journalist who found his way into the tabloid world kind of by accident, but is making a lot more money than he ever made for a newspaper. And he's completely absorbed in it, and he offers his own defense of what he does, and not, I wouldn't say eloquently, but he certainly makes an effective point about he's just feeding this monster that's out there that you notice every time you walk by the newsstand, every time you turn on the TV, watch Entertainment Tonight, Entertainment Weekly, Backstage Pass, whatever all these shows are. The worst part of this for me was I had to immerse myself in all this swill for research, because I didn't know when I started writing the novel who was famous on that particular day. And so I had to find out who was famous, and then the hard part, why they were famous. In my research, and I use the term loosely, I stumble upon this entity right here in Florida, and I'm born and raised, and I've not heard of these people before. It's something called the Kardashians. You know, and apparently they're sisters. And I was on a radio show with Dave Barry yesterday, and I asked him, do you know how many of them there are? And we debated this for hours. He thought there were 15 or 16. And I think he's probably close to being right. And then I asked him, since he lives down there and closer to them than I do, okay, what is it they do? What is their talent? What is their skill? What do they contribute to society? And he just shook his head and said, well, they have a reality show. And there you go. First of all, being the star of a reality show is sort of a contradiction in terms. We're all part of a reality show. But anyway, these people occupy a lot of the public's attention now. And in my newspaper, the Miami Herald, you can find on any given day an item about the Kardashians. I mean, I don't even know their names. It's like Flores or whatever. They all begin with a K. But I was fascinated by this because we've always been interested in celebrities in this country. I mean, going back forever. And usually there is at least a shred of talent visible somewhere, something that you can say that's why people got excited about them. But now, with reality programming, with the ability we have in a technical sense of making really a singing star out of anybody,